If you're waking up at 3 a.m. every night, your body is not just aging, it's trying to warn you. Sound familiar? It's that eerie stillness when the world is asleep, but your mind is fully awake. You glance at the clock, 3:14 a.m. again. No noise, no dreams, just you and the ceiling. Maybe you've tried warm milk, meditation, counting sheep, or even medication, but that middle of the night awakening keeps coming back like a silent alarm. I've worked with older adults for over a decade, and I can tell you with complete honesty, waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just a random part of getting older. It's a quiet message from your body, asking you to pay attention. And when we stop blaming age and start decoding the signals, real transformation can happen. You see, your body is wise. Even as we age, it tries to adapt, protect, and communicate, often in ways we've never been taught to understand. What most people don't realize is that your sleep cycle actually shifts with age. Hormones like melatonin begin to fade, cortisol starts spiking at the wrong time, and your body's internal clock, once perfectly in sync, drifts ahead. That's why you may find yourself getting sleepy earlier in the evening, but wide awake before the sun rises. But that's only part of the story. For many of us, those early hours also bring something deeper, emotional noise, regret, worry. The thoughts we ignore in daylight often find their way back at 3 a.m. when the house is still and our guard is down. In this video, I want to help you reconnect the dots, to uncover the 10 hidden reasons why your sleep keeps getting interrupted and what your body and mind are trying to tell you. We'll look at what's happening to your hormones, why your brain's chemistry changes after 60, and how physical discomfort, anxiety, even your dinner choices might all be playing a role. Most importantly, I'll show you the small, science-backed shifts that can help you sleep through the night again, naturally and without guilt. If this sounds like your experience, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what do your 3 a.m. wake-ups feel like? Let's support each other, because you're not alone in this. And if you find this valuable, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment of clarity. Now, let's begin and uncover the first reason you keep waking up at 3 a.m. A fading hormone your sleep simply can't function without. 1. Blue light and bad habits. The sleep disruptor hiding in plain sight. Are you unknowingly sabotaging your own sleep every evening? Most seniors are. It often begins with good intentions. You wake up at 3 a.m., restless, and instinctively reach for your phone. Maybe you just want to check the time. Maybe it's a quick scroll through the news or a calming video. But what feels harmless in the moment might actually be the very reason you can't fall back asleep. Here's what I've seen in over a decade of helping older adults. Your brain doesn't know the difference between sunlight and the harsh blue light from a screen. The moment your eyes detect it, whether from a phone, tablet, or even a TV, your brain receives a clear message. It's morning, time to wake up. That one glance can completely shut down your body's melatonin production, the very hormone you need to return to deep, restorative sleep. And it hits seniors even harder because melatonin naturally declines with age. You may think, I'm already awake, what's the harm? But that screen is not neutral. It stimulates your brain, elevates alertness, and delays your ability to fall back asleep by hours. I've watched this play out with so many people. They unknowingly enter a cycle where the thing they turn to for comfort becomes the cause of their suffering. But here's the good news. You can break that pattern. Instead of reaching for your phone, try this. Keep a soft amber light by your bedside. If you wake up, don't panic. Sip warm water, stretch gently, breathe slowly, and let yourself settle. Give your brain the darkness it needs to begin producing melatonin again. And in the evening, power down screens at least an hour before bed. Dim the lights. Read something comforting. Let your environment whisper to your body. It's time to rest. Because often, sleep isn't broken. It's just being interrupted by habits we've never been warned about. And now that you know, you can do something different. Coming up next, we'll explore the surprising truth about how your internal clock shifts with age, and why your body might be waking you up at 3 a.m. because it thinks it's already morning. Let's take a closer look at your biological rhythm, and what happens when time itself begins to drift inside your body. 2. Your body's clock is ticking earlier. The truth about advanced sleep phase. Have you ever noticed yourself getting sleepy much earlier than you used to? Maybe it hits around 8:30 or 9 p.m., not because you're exhausted, but because your body feels like it's simply done for the day. Then, without fail, you're wide awake at 3 or 4 in the morning, staring into the dark, wondering why sleep won't return. This isn't just coincidence. It's a shift in your internal biological clock, and it happens to many older adults. Doctors call it advanced sleep phase syndrome. I call it a silent drift in time that no one warned you about. You see, our bodies are guided by an internal timekeeper called the circadian rhythm, a 24-hour cycle that controls when we feel alert and when we feel drowsy. When we're younger, this rhythm is finely tuned, helping us stay up through evening activities and sleep soundly through the night. But as we age, this rhythm begins to shift forward, often by several hours. What used to feel like bedtime at 11 p.m. may now feel like midnight by 8:30. And if you go to bed earlier, guess what happens? You finish your full sleep cycle earlier, too, and your body thinks 3 a.m. is a perfectly logical time to start the day. This isn't a failure of aging, it's biology. But it can become a trap, especially if you don't understand what's happening. I've seen people blame themselves, thinking they're developing insomnia or anxiety, when in fact their sleep-wake cycle is simply drifting ahead of schedule. And when you try to force your body back into a normal schedule without adjusting your light exposure or daily routine, you're often fighting your own biology. So how do we gently guide your clock back into rhythm? One of the most powerful tools is morning sunlight. Just 10 to 15 minutes of natural light soon after waking can help anchor your circadian rhythm and prevent it from drifting further. Combine this with consistent wake-up times, even on weekends, and a gradual delay in your evening wind-down routine, and you can start to reclaim your night and your energy. Have you noticed your body asking to sleep earlier than it used to, or waking you up before the birds? If so, your inner clock may already be shifting, and you're not alone. Now, let's talk about another powerful force that could be waking you up too early. Not time, but hormones, especially cortisol, the one that rises when you wish it wouldn't. 3. Hormonal shifts, the tug-of-war between cortisol and melatonin. What if your 3 a.m. wake-up call wasn't a sleep disorder, but a hormonal tug-of-war inside your body? As we age, two key hormones begin to dance out of rhythm, and the result is often a restless night. On one side, we have melatonin, your natural sleep hormone, responsible for helping you drift off and stay in deep, healing sleep. On the other, cortisol, your built-in alarm clock, which is meant to rise slowly just before dawn. But here's the catch. As we get older, melatonin production declines significantly, sometimes to less than half of what we produced in our 20s. That means your brain has a weaker signal to stay asleep. At the same time, cortisol can begin spiking too early, often between 2 and 4 a.m. The result? You jolt awake feeling alert, not because your sleep was complete, but because your body thinks it's time to start the day. I've met many older adults who feel betrayed by their own bodies in these moments. But once they understand this natural shift, something changes. Frustration turns into clarity. You're not broken, you're just hormonally out of sync. And the good news is, there are gentle ways to bring your system back into balance. A consistent bedtime routine with dim lights and no screens, morning sunlight within an hour of waking, and magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens or pumpkin seeds can help recalibrate this delicate system. For those experiencing chronic early waking, testing cortisol levels or adjusting the timing of meals can also make a significant difference. But more than anything, I want you to stop blaming yourself. This is chemistry, not character. Have you ever woken up in the darkness, wide-eyed and wired, wondering why your mind won't settle? If so, it may be time to stop wrestling with your sleep and start listening to your hormones. But even hormones aren't the whole story. There's another layer to this mystery, one that's tied not to biology, but to something deeper. In the next section, we'll explore the surprising way your emotions, especially hidden nighttime anxiety, may be the true voice waking you at 3 a.m., and how to quiet it with compassion instead of control. 4. When cortisol spikes too soon, the hormone that wakes you up before the world does. What if your 3 a.m. anxiety isn't a mental problem, but a biological warning sign? Deep in the quiet hours of the night, when everything around you seems still, your body may be going through an invisible surge, one that feels like sudden alertness, a racing heart, or the inability to calm your thoughts. That surge is often cortisol, your body's main stress hormone, and it's meant to rise gently just before dawn to help you feel alert and ready for the day. But for many older adults, especially those under chronic stress, dealing with blood sugar imbalances, or even just experiencing age-related rhythm shifts, cortisol starts spiking much earlier, often between 2 and 4 a.m. I've seen this countless times in my work. A client wakes up at 3 a.m. every night like clockwork, feeling wide awake but utterly drained, and they assume it's anxiety or insomnia. The truth is, it's not always emotional. Sometimes, it's purely hormonal. And because melatonin levels decline with age, there's no longer a strong enough signal to suppress that early cortisol rise, leaving your system stuck in a false dawn. What's more, this internal stress response can be triggered by something as subtle as eating dinner too early, having low blood sugar during the night, or even unresolved emotional tension from the day before. But here's the good news. There are practical ways to calm the storm. A light protein-rich snack before bed, such as a handful of almonds or a spoon of almond butter, can help stabilize blood sugar and reduce cortisol activation. Practicing slow, mindful breathing when you wake, or even repeating a calming mantra, can shift your nervous system out of fight or flight and back into rest. And one of the simplest, yet most powerful steps? Begin each morning with gentle exposure to natural light. This not only helps reset your internal clock, but reinforces the correct timing for cortisol release. Many people assume that waking at 3 a.m. is just part of getting older, but in truth, it's often your body calling for balance. So the next time your eyes snap open in the dark, ask yourself, is this really anxiety, or is my body simply out of rhythm? In the next section, we'll dive deeper into how emotional energy, especially unspoken worries, rises during the night, and why your most vulnerable thoughts often arrive at 3 a.m., uninvited and unfiltered. 5. Shallow sleep with age, why your brain no longer sinks deep enough. Remember when you could sleep through anything, thunderstorms, barking dogs, even the television blaring in the next room? That deep, uninterrupted sleep you once took for granted now feels like a distant memory. As we age, our sleep changes, and one of the most frustrating shifts is how much lighter it becomes. Science shows that while younger adults spend about 20% of the night in deep, restorative sleep, the kind where your body heals, your brain clears out toxins, and your memory consolidates, those over 60 may get only 5 to 10% of that essential stage. And here's the consequence. Your sleep becomes fragile, easily disturbed by the smallest noise, the faintest light, or even your own thoughts. I often describe it like this. When you're young, sleep feels like being at the bottom of a swimming pool, untouched by surface ripples. But as we grow older, we're floating near the top, and every ripple, every minor shift in breathing, temperature, or emotion can wake us. This isn't a flaw in you. It's a natural progression in how the brain's architecture evolves with age. But understanding this gives you the power to respond more gently rather than fighting it with frustration. In fact, many older adults get caught in a loop. They wake up, feel irritated about being awake, and that irritation itself becomes the thing that keeps them up. In my experience, how you respond to wakefulness is often more important than the wakefulness itself. That's why creating the right sleep environment becomes crucial. A cool, quiet room with blackout curtains, no digital lights, a mattress that supports your aging joints, and even a white noise machine to soften outside distractions. The goal isn't to sleep like you did at 25. It's to make the sleep you have as restorative and uninterrupted as possible. And if you do wake up, don't panic. Don't reach for your phone. Don't start checking the time. Instead, try something gentle. Stretch your feet under the covers, breathe slowly, and remind your mind that it's safe to drift again. Because sometimes, it's not the number of hours that matters, it's the quality of the rest you do get. But what if your sleep is being broken not by noise, light, or aging, but by something inside your body pulling you awake? In the next part, we'll explore the physical conditions that often interrupt sleep in older adults, and why understanding them might be the first real step toward peace at night. 6. The body that won't sleep. How physical discomfort silently interrupts your rest. Sometimes, it's not your thoughts or your hormones that wake you at 3 a.m. It's your body whispering, or even shouting, that something isn't right. And after working with older adults for over a decade, I've seen this pattern repeat itself far too often. The person thinks they have insomnia, but the real culprit is hidden in the physical discomforts that come with aging. For example, sleep apnea, a condition where the throat muscles relax too much during sleep and block airflow, affects millions of older adults. You might not even realize it's happening. There's no dramatic choking or gasping. But if you wake up with a dry mouth, dull morning headaches, or you feel tired despite a full night in bed, Your breathing may be briefly stopping during sleep, just long enough to wake your brain and interrupt your rest. Then there's pain. That knee that seemed fine all day suddenly throbs when you're lying still. Or that nagging hip discomfort that becomes sharp in the quiet of night. This happens because inflammation often follows different rhythms at night, and lying still allows fluid to pool around joints, amplifying the discomfort. And what about the bladder? As we age, the urge to urinate becomes more frequent and urgent, even if your intake hasn't changed. Waking up to use the bathroom once may not seem disruptive, but when it happens 2, 3, even 4 times a night, it shatters your sleep cycles and leaves you groggy come morning. Add to that acid reflux, where lying down causes stomach acid to creep upward, or restless legs syndrome, that odd crawling sensation that demands movement, and suddenly your night becomes a battlefield of interruptions. The frustrating part? Many of these conditions are either underdiagnosed or brushed off as normal aging. But normal doesn't mean harmless. That's why I always encourage people to track patterns, notice what's recurring, and speak openly with their doctor. Because these interruptions aren't just nuisances, they're solvable. Sometimes with a small lifestyle tweak, sometimes with a change in medication timing, sometimes with deeper medical support. But you can't fix what you don't understand. So the next time you wake up and your body feels restless, achy, or just off, know this. You're not being dramatic, you're being signaled. Which leads us to something even more elusive. What if your body feels fine, but your mind simply won't turn off? In the next part, we'll dive into the silent emotional cycle that wakes you before dawn, and how your brain's late-night chat room might be the real reason you can't sleep through the night. 7. The 3 a.m. worry cycle, when your mind refuses to sleep. What if your 3 a.m. anxiety isn't a mental problem, but a biological warning sign? It's quiet. The world outside is asleep, but inside your head, it feels like rush hour. Thoughts fly by, one after another, bills unpaid, doctor's appointments coming up, something your child said last week that didn't sit right. You try to reason with yourself, even laugh at how irrational it all is, but your heart won't stop racing and your mind refuses to calm down. This is the 3 a.m. worry cycle, and trust me, I've seen it torment some of the kindest, strongest people I know. Here's what's really happening. As we age, we spend more time in lighter stages of sleep, which makes us more vulnerable to waking up, not just physically, but mentally. The brain's default mode network, responsible for introspection and emotional processing, becomes hyperactive at night, especially when distractions are gone and silence fills the room. And during these hours, your cortisol levels, the very ones meant to gently wake you, may already be on the rise. This creates a perfect storm: light sleep, elevated stress hormones, and a mind that's suddenly wide open to all the worries it pushed aside during the day. I once had a client tell me, "It's like my brain waits until 3 a.m. to dump every concern it's been saving." She wasn't wrong, and she wasn't alone. Many older adults experience this exact phenomenon. It's not weakness. It's not overthinking. It's biology meeting memory in the darkest hours of the night. So what can you do when your mind won't stop talking? First, change how you talk back. Don't scold yourself for being awake. That only fuels the stress. Instead, keep a journal by your bed. When the thoughts come, jot them down. Emptying your mind onto paper is like opening a pressure valve. Next, try a breathing pattern I teach often. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This activates your body's natural relaxation response, quieting your nervous system without any medication. And most of all, remember this: your 3 a.m. thoughts are not facts. They're fears in disguise, amplified by fatigue and silence. Don't make decisions at that hour. Don't believe everything you think. Instead, whisper to yourself, "This can wait until morning." Because it can. Still, not all restlessness is mental. Sometimes what you eat or drink in the evening plays a bigger role than you expect. In the next section, we'll explore how nighttime eating habits might be setting you up for a 3 a.m. wake-up call, and what you can do instead to nourish deep, uninterrupted sleep. 8. Evening eating habits: how late-night food choices sabotage your sleep. Are you fueling your body for rest, or accidentally feeding the 3 a.m. wake-up call? Most people never connect what they eat for dinner to why they're staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night. But I can tell you from years of experience, what you put on your plate after sunset has a direct line to how well you sleep. See, your body wants to rest at night, not digest. When you eat a large, heavy meal close to bedtime, your digestive system stays active long after the lights are off. And while you may feel sleepy after a carb-loaded dinner, that drowsiness is misleading. Once digestion peaks, often 2 to 3 hours later, your body temperature rises slightly, your stomach churns to break things down, and your brain quietly shifts into alert mode. That's when many people wake at 3 a.m., confused, slightly warm, and unable to fall back asleep. I've seen people unknowingly sabotage their rest with comfort foods, things like sugary desserts, fried snacks, or processed carbs. These spike your blood sugar in the evening and cause it to crash in the middle of the night, triggering cortisol release and, you guessed it, a wake-up. But there's another side to this. Some people don't eat enough in the evening. They go to bed undernourished, and their blood sugar dips too low, causing the body to panic and jolt them awake in search of energy. So what's the fix? Balance. Instead of eating like a king at night, aim for a light, nourishing dinner. Think protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Grilled salmon with steamed vegetables. A small bowl of oatmeal with walnuts. A banana with almond butter. These foods support stable blood sugar through the night and contain nutrients like magnesium and tryptophan, which naturally support sleep. And while staying hydrated is essential during the day, be mindful in the evening. Drinking too much before bed, even water, can mean multiple bathroom trips that rob you of deep sleep. Try finishing most of your fluids 2 hours before lying down. The truth is, small choices add up, and your dinner might be whispering to your brain long after you've stopped chewing. So tonight, before you eat on autopilot, ask yourself, is this helping my body rest or waking it up when I need sleep the most? But food isn't the only nighttime habit that matters. In the next section, we'll explore how your sleep environment, your bedroom, lighting, sounds, and even your mattress can either invite deep rest or keep your brain alert long into the night. Every wake-up call is a whisper from your body. Listen closely. If there's one message I hope stays with you after watching this video, it's this. Waking up at 3 a.m. is not your body failing you. It's your body trying to talk to you. Each time you find yourself staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night, it's not just getting older, or just stress, or something you need to fight with pills or frustration. More often than not, it's a quiet whisper from within, a signal that something physical, emotional, or habitual needs gentle attention. We've explored so many reasons this might be happening. Blue light before bed, a shifting sleep cycle, hormone imbalances, pain or discomfort, nighttime anxiety, or even a late meal that overstimulates your system. And what ties all of these together is this. Your body wants to sleep. It's built to heal, to restore, to rest deeply. But it needs the right support. And the moment we shift from blaming the body to working with it, everything begins to change. As someone who spent years guiding older adults through these exact challenges, I can tell you, healing doesn't always require big, dramatic change. Sometimes it starts with a journal by the bed, a walk in morning sunlight, a warm tea instead of a screen, a softer mattress, a decision to stop judging yourself for being awake and start listening instead. So the next time you wake in the still of the night, try this. Before grabbing your phone or checking the clock, take a breath. Ask your body gently, what are you trying to tell me? That shift in mindset can turn frustration into self-care, and over time, those small shifts can lead to deeper, more peaceful sleep. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your experience. Leave a comment below and share your story. Have you been waking at 3 a.m.? What helped you? Or what are you still struggling with? Let's build a space where you feel seen, heard, and supported. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you don't miss future insights. You deserve rest. You deserve peace. And your journey to better sleep starts with awareness, one night at a time.